Lynn Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Yes, indeed. And hello. Good morning to you. We're all in our places with sunshiny faces. It's August 18th. It is a Tuesday, and that means my sister Susan is joining us from Chicago, that toddling town. I am so
morning.
flat. Oh. Suze.
What?
You were just kidding, right?
No, I'm kidding. What?
That you were miserable.
Well, I am vaguely miserable, but I'll be more upbeat.
Good, because, see, the purpose of this show is to start relatively up and then after an hour to
and
leave everybody.
Up suicidal, I know.
Right. So, see, if you start suicidal, I don't know where we're going to
doomed.
end. Yeah,
I know.
So get it up. Hey, this might help because
Okay.
I was just looking through my my email, and here's one that caught my eye. The subject is kitchen carcass enquiry.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I did click on it, and lo and behold, it's a Chinese company called Cucina di Tomato.
The tomato kitchen, okay.
I think the Cucina di Tomato.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Okay, but they're in Ningbo, China.
Okay, but it sounds like an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, it does. But they are telling me they manufacture for kitchen carcass and kitchen doors and bathroom cabinets. And they said they can provide me many series of cabinets and carcasses in different materials. What the hell what do they think they're saying? I would have thought...
Counter?
Huh?
A counter?
Counters? Do you think?
Well, I would have said cabinets, but they say
I would have
cabinets.
too. That's right. I would have said cabinets, but they say
So
cabinets.
the only other thing that starts with a k sound would be like the countertops to your kitchen.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that they aren't saying they provide.
That is correct. So I think you're right about that. And here, listen to this. All of our office team members speaks good English.
I'm so glad to hear that.
And they are professional of answering any questions. And she also says, 'cause her name's Vivian, she says, what was it? If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to trouble me.
Okay. Well, just email her back. Say, I'm troubling you. I want to know what a carcass is.
That's what my kitchen doesn't have. I don't have a carcass.
Well, you sure you do. You have them periodically.
Oh, that's true. Carcasses do come through. That is true. That is true.
You have one on Thanksgiving, and you have one at roasted chicken, or you have a leg of lamb. You have a partial carcass.
Kitchen carcass inquiry. Just, well, Vivian, no, I don't think I'm responding to that. Hey, speaking of kitchen carcasses, my son made me dinner last night. That's a second time in a whole...
What did he make you?
It was excellent. He didn't like it. He was very upset. You know how cooks sometimes you're enjoying the meal,
or hypercritical of their own food.
And that's what happened. And it was wonderful. It was chicken with honey, beer, and mustard and scallion sauce. It was excellent.
Yeah, what could be bad? That makes
I don't know
sauce.
what could be bad. It was just.
What he thought his proportions were wrong?
He thought he didn't make the sauce. The sauce needed to be more sauce. He thought, but the chicken, it was delicious. I ate all of mine, and then I ate the rest of his. And then I scrounged around for additional carcasses, but there weren't any.
You're nothing if not an enthusiastic enjoyer of other people's cooking. It's very hospitable of you in its own way.
Yeah, but yummy, yummy, yum. Yeah, that was good stuff.
But I'm the same way. I'm the same way as Sam. I will put out a dinner for 40 and then watch in dismay as people eat that stuff.
Because, you think it's awful. It's never right. What? That's
right.
Weird that we do. I do that, too. Well, you just are. You're hypercritical of your own work. Yeah.
Unless I really don't care. Like, the times I don't care are the times that they ask me who my caterer is, and I say it's me.
Me. Hey, I don't know. Let's see. I want to... So I usually get on, rich people who give, hundreds of millions of dollars to their alma maters who are drowning, who are already drowning in so much endowment funding that they can't even,
But somebody just gave something for a good reason. What?
They did? No,
I don't know.
You thought that's where I'm going?
No,
not necessarily, but this is a little bit different. Because, little colleges do need that kind of infusion, and they often don't get it, but the Harvards do, and it just drives me crazy. I mean, when I think of that money could be going to help people who need it, but...
Instead, they're just stockpiling it. That's what really gets me.
Makes me...
Every time
crazy.
Washington University in St. Louis, which irritates me, by the way, because back in the day we knew where it was.
Yeah, but people outside
their
of...
official name is Washington University in St. Louis.
No.
And they have one of those huge endowments. Yeah. And every time they come and ask me for it, I go, no.
No, you don't need it.
Why would I give you money? How much of an endowment do you need?
I would suggest all these universities with their big endowments,
Start lowering your tuition.
Duh. I mean, come on.
That's what Grinnell does.
There are schools that do, and that are almost free.
They have a huge endowment, and everybody gets something out of their admission. Their tuition is half the size of other people's, and nobody pays full tuition.
Yeah, because this is nuts. But no, this is a story. It's totally different. This is a story about a college I never heard of. See if you have. Paul Smith College.
Paul Smith College. It looks like it sounds like that place in Wisconsin where the farmer, made his farm a university because he heard that he could get tax credits that way, or tax.
I never heard that story.
Or he wouldn't be tax deductible. It was the Lausonomy. You used to pass it on the highway. Go ahead. I interrupted you again.
But wait, really? So he...
Yeah.
So he made his farm into a college?
He just named it a, Lausonomy University or something, and declared himself tax exempt.
Yeah, but that didn't work, did it?
No, it didn't work.
Oh,
but the sign exists.
Well, speaking of signs, I mean, we didn't share that on our trip. You pointed out a sign that I must have blown by a million times and never seen. Close upon the Wisconsin-Illinois border is a sign that says Bong Recreation Center, right? Recreation Park?
Right, recreation area, BONG, recreation area.
Yeah. And
always wanted to stop there, never, but was always in too big a hurry going where I was going.
Right. But, only stoners will get why that amuses us. Okay. Okay, so back to this little college named after Paul Smith. And this is in the Adirondacks. It's in New York. And he bequeathed, when he died, all this money and land to create a college in his father's honor. And his father had run a hotel, a celebrated hotel. In fact, the Paul Smith Hotel, I believe. And so this sits on the same land as the Paul Smith Hotel and small Paul Smith College. One of their specialties is hotel management. And also making use of all the glorious natural beauty around there. Their other specialty is forestry. So they're a little school. They have 1,000 students. And they have a budget as high as $36 million a year. So even if we haven't heard of them, there they are. Well, so a very rich couple from New York, and you remember the name, Sanford Weill.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
He took over the company for which I worked in New York.
Okay, Sanford Weill, a gazillionaire from Wall Street. Also known, now people in Pittsburgh might remember this. Remember the TV anchor at KDKA or PXI, Edie Tarbox? She ended up going to Fox, and then from Fox married Weill's son, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't marry Sanford Weill. I couldn't figure out where
No. Married into the family. But, remember her? Edie Tarbox?
Right. He became CEO of Lowbroad's,
who knows?
American Express, and then
that's right. It was he was American Express. Right. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay, so we're talking lots of money, and his lovely wife, what's her name, and he and what's her name just sort of like fell in love with this area. They ended up building a small cottage, I suppose, on a lake nearby, and the wife, whose name I cannot find here, I don't want to keep referring to her as the wife, got really involved with this college. And she's been on the college board for 19 years. They have given a lot of money to the school. And they built a new library there, a student center, both of which are named for her. Now, here's the story. She now said, I will give you $20 million, which they really need, apparently, being a little school. Who doesn't need 20 mil?
Yeah, I
could use it. I could use it. $20 million.
Can't say I need it, but I could certainly use it.
But the gift comes with a requirement. Yeah.
Yeah.
The school must agree to change the name to Joan Weill Paul Smith College.
Oh, they'll say no.
No, they haven't said no. Here's what they've said. Shit. We need that money.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on legally on what the original terms of the original gift were.
That is correct, spoken like a lawyer, Suze. So this is in court. Because the original founding documents for the university, for the college, stipulated that the school would be, quote, forever known as Paul Smith College of Arts and Sciences.
She could name a whole section of the school after
Well,
herself.
she's already
and call
got
it
she's already,
the something Wiles School of,
Joan Wiles' name is
John
all over.
Smith,
Yeah, it's all over the place. I mean, it's all over. So here's the thing: sort of alumni and local residents are all pissed off about this. They're hooting, they're hollering, but the university president is for it because she says, part of my job is to help everyone continue thinking about the very real benefits that our school will enjoy through such a prominent association with Joan Weil. And so there you have it. And this is what oh, that's a call. It's been so long, I forgot what they sounded like. Hello? 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 Goodbye.
All right, well,
anyway.
My son writes, both of us, to say that the Bong Recreation Area was named after Dick Bong.
Oh, geez, what a name.
The highest scoring ace in U.S. Air Force history, World War II.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
The highest scoring ace pilot in World War II was a guy named Dick Bong?
Uh-huh.
That seems like a perfect name for a fighter pilot. Dick Bong. Bong! Right. Just got that last letter a little incorrect of Dick Bomb. I mean, just Dick Bong. Well, thank you, Arl. And, okay, so so this is going to end up in court. I don't know how a court decides that they can, get out of this foundation.
Well, they very well might. I mean, to me, it's tough toenails.
Yeah, but
they simply can't, and it doesn't matter whether the trustees would like to. They simply can't.
Well, this is at the court in the county court. They call it a state supreme court in Franklin County. New York's court system is very odd to me. So who knows?
It'll probably go up the thing, but I know from personal experience when my husband was trustee of a he got himself in all these positions that I never understood. So
Right.
Some ancient psychologist who is an expert in Sigmund Freud put my husband in charge of his estate upon his death, in which he totally gave nothing to his only child, and
oh, how awful!
Just terrible. So
awful.
Eric and the daughter, was protesting and blah 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 blah, and Eric determined that he just was going to do what he thought was right and cut the daughter some slack, and in fact the state of Missouri would not allow it.
Wow.
I said, sorry, that's not the you simply cannot substitute your judgment for his, and no.
But wait, so where did he leave the money to? I mean,
Guess where the money went to? The money went to a series of different. It fulfilled the requirements of the the request of the estate, and it ended up benefiting Washington University in St. Louis, and
oh, okay,
and
so
stuff like that.
But he cut his daughter out totally.
Yeah,
it's a bitchy thing to do.
So, I mean, it's just an example of, no, you can't later substitute your judgment for what that piece of paper says. You might want to. It might be the right thing to do. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, a certain person we know, good friend of our mom's, she was married and then divorced amicably, and then remarried. And her first husband died maybe about 2-3 years ago. And he left her all his money when she was married to a gazillionaire. Well, she has so much money. She no more needs his money than she needs a hole in the ground. Meanwhile, he had a son.
Oh, God.
So this worked, though. She got the money, and then she just turned it lock, stock, and barrel over to her stepson.
Right.
So that is a way of doing it, but not a lot of people would necessarily do that. Right.
I mean, once she claims the money, then
she
it's
can
not
do it. It's
in
hers.
trust.
That's
she can
right.
do
It's
whatever
hers.
she wants. But
It's
if he
hers.
had left her the money saying,
under no circumstances
under
will my son.
no circumstances, this
Right.
is, you know.
But she gave it to the son.
Right.
She's a good woman.
She is. She's helped a lot of people.
Yeah, she's just a really good woman. So, all right. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Here's what I want to say about that, though. What the hell is with Joan Weil? If she so loves this school, what does she love? The school or the chance to have
Or
her
having
name
her name
all
hung on it.
What kind of crap is that? And she knows.
It's total crap.
And I mean, knowing that the community, the alums who have appreciated her gifts in the past are all pissed off about this, up in arms. And she doesn't say, oh, I'm sorry, okay, excuse me, I'll back away. The ego, the sort of unabashed ego of it is just sickening to me. I mean, wouldn't you be embarrassed? But wouldn't you be embarrassed to be that
no.
Just
in
boldly.
her circle, everybody names things after themselves.
I mean, why are you laughing? Celine's laughing at me.
Probably because she thinks you're naive. Amongst people who routinely name, whole sections of cities after themselves, it's simply what's done.
Well, I always get a kick out of the way I know synagogues often raise money is, you can have your name on a plaque on this.
On the back of a seat in a prayer book. And
Right. So when you start seeing that, you open up your prayer book and there it is,
this book dedicated to
and blah, 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 whatever. So names are all over the seat you're sitting in. I'm surprised I haven't seen things on toilets, because you'll see, every room, every, practically this light switch, courtesy of, and it's it's no different than the naming rights now that are, proliferating all over the place, right?
No, but I always think I use Chicago as the perfect example of that. I don't care how many different times they rename the Hancock Building. It's the Hancock Building. It's not Willis Tower, the Sears Tower. It's not the Willis Tower. It's the Sears Tower.
Well, you just hit on how this story ends, because they interview some woman who, lives in the town, and she says, it doesn't matter. They can rename it Joan Weil. We'll always call it. No one's going to call it that.
Right.
No one's going to call it that. It'll continue to be the Paul Smith School.
Yeah,
and
it's
sort of like
legally they can't do it.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't matter.
But so, here that's true too. We have an iconic, the tallest building here was built by U.S. Steel when we were a steel town, and you can see that thing from a million miles away when you're flying into Pittsburgh. You're still in middle of Ohio and you can see the damn thing poking its head up. And U.S. Steel, of course, is not what U.S. Steel used to be, especially when it built that thing. So now the big kahuna in town is the dreaded UPMC, which stands for University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. And so now those letters are up at the top of that building, and you can see them everywhere. UPMC, which rankles me no end, blights the landscape as far as I'm concerned. But I have never heard a soul say the UPMC tower.
No.
It's the steel.
Yeah.
And it's like Macy's took over our local Kaufman's department store. It's Kaufman's. Sorry.
Right.
And now Macy's is closing that down. So but yeah, these names stay.
Even in Old Green Bay, when you would still say it's in the Woolworth building. Then even though something else was sitting in the Five and Dime, which no longer existed.
Yeah.
But Woolworth was written right on front of the building, and that's what it was.
It was. And there ain't no getting around it. So, all righty, Joni Weil, who has it all, but wants this one more thing. And she's withholding her $20 million unless she gets it. Go ahead, do it. It won't mean a goddamn thing. Okay. Ansel writes, speaking of Edie Tarbox, who married well, Edie Tarbox became Edie Hill after she left here, and she was a big deal on Fox. She was the host of Fox and Friends back in the day. She sort of disappeared from the planet after a short stay at CNN where she co-hosted with Elliot Spitzer. Oh, my God.
Oh, I remember her.
I remember her most for anchoring on WPXI with her University of Texas sorority sister, Dagny Hultgreen. What the? Oh, yeah. Dagny Hultgreen? I worked at an opposing station. We used to call her Gag Me Hultgreen.
Yeah, well, that's too easy.
And so childish.
Well, no, it's just, how can you not?
What kind of a name is Dagny? This is Channel 11, WPXI. They have had the most strangely named anchor women. I mean, unusual names. Okay, I forgot all about Gag Me. But Tarbox itself is an odd name, isn't it? And then recently, who was that? She's a wonderful woman. She had to be 6'2". Who was it? And I don't think she anchors anymore, but she still lives in town. She had a strange name. And then there was Darieth Chisholm. Isn't that do you think that's a strange name?
I think they're all very strange. But then I was named Susan Miller.
Well, that's true. White bread.
Right.
Right bit. Anyway, he says neither Dagny nor Ms. Tarbox were very good anchors, but they sure were easy on the eyes. Ansel, that was exactly, I'm sure. I know, I thought Tarbox was a terrible anchor, but what did I know? Roger Ailes saw something, and he was apparently right. All right, what else we got here? Obit of the day. Okay.
Go for it.
Bob Johnson.
No, not Bob.
That's sort of like Susan Miller. Who doesn't know a Bob Johnson? Huh?
Well, the one I know apparently just died.
No, you don't know him. I think that wasn't Bob Johnson he was the coach of the Penguins for.
This isn't Batman, is it?
No, that's a sad story.
Isn't that a sad story?
You saw that, guys, right? The guy who dressed up as Batman.
I mean, spent a fortune on it.
Was it Batman? Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a Batmobile.
And he had a Batmobile.
And he went and visited sick kids.
I know. He was pictured here, and I mean, he came to Children's Hospital here a number of times. And he really looked the part. He looked like he was really a big, handsome guy, right? He's 51 years old.
His Batmobile broke down.
His Batmobile broke down, but like an idiot, he didn't completely have it pulled off the road.
Oh, and he was in the fast lane.
And he was in the fast lane, not totally pulled off the road, and some poor soul came and didn't stop fast enough, and kaplooey. It's the end of that.
Well, who's your Bob Johnson?
This Bob Johnson.
Even though that guy wasn't Bob Johnson.
This Bob Johnson was a record producer, but listen to some of the albums he produced. Blonde on Blonde, Bob Dylan. Might be one of the greatest, some people say, perhaps one of the greatest rock and roll albums of all time, according to many critics. John Wesley Harding, Nashville Skyline, which I love. Nashville Skyline. And he did Johnny Cash's At Folsom Prison.
Wow.
I mean, like, what didn't he do? And then he did a Simon and Garfunkel one, too, Sounds of Silence. And he did something with Leonard Cohen. He also produced.
Well, he was clearly the producer of the.
He was with Columbia Records. He also. His admirers included George Harrison, Tom Petty, Johnny Cash, Paul Simon. He also produced the Willie Nelson album, The IRS Tapes. Remember when? I did
when he owed the IRS all that
millions,
money.
Millions.
So he released an album and gave it to him.
That's right. It was called The IRS Tapes, Who Will Buy My Memories? And he produced that for Willie and got him out of some difficulty. And Dylan loved him. And Dylan, doesn't love anybody. Dylan said this about him. You could see the fire in his eyes. He was born 100 years too late. He should have been wearing a wide cape, a plumed hat, and riding with his sword held high. People loved him. He was 83. Bob Johnson. It's either Johnson or Johnston. I never know what to do when somebody puts that T, because sometimes it's not, whatever. Geez, here's somebody with a lot of questions, Susan. Why did Susan move to Chicago?
I moved to Chicago one, because my children live here and my grandchild lives here, and I thought that given that life had suggested that I should start a new one, it would be easier to do so in a city where I would really be forced to start over, as opposed to staying in St. Louis, where I was farther from my direct family, and where I had, an easy way forward, which was just hanging out with the people I already knew. But I didn't think that would be necessarily the best thing for me. So that's why I moved.
And this is after the untimely
death of my husband.
The untimely loss of her wonderful husband. And here's another question. What happened to Sally Wiggins being a guest on your show? First of all, Sally doesn't like that S on the end. It's Sally Wiggin. Sally's now in China, I understand. But she's always somewhere. And it's hard for her to be a guest on the show because it's hard to nail her down. She's moving too fast. She was on recently, wasn't she?
Yeah, I feel like she was.
Celine, you were here when she was on. Yeah, she was on recently. And, I mean, people always love it when she's on. She is funny as hell. And I'll have her back.
The two of you together are funny.
Yeah, I'll have her back. No problem. It's always a hoot. And here's another question. Tony, who used to call your old show, Ron Morris announced on his show when he was still alive. I don't know. Oh, he passed away. Oh, yeah, I would assume Tony did. Tony was the poor soul who thought he was the most miserable person in the world, Susan. This guy would call in and, nobody loves me. He was Eeyore.
Aww.
And he was just so sad. And nobody liked him. He was always alone. And he would call and dump all this on everybody. And then people would call in and say, Tony, will you come to my house for Christmas dinner? We have such a wonderful... He would be invited places. And he would still say, no, I can't. So whatever. Actually, it annoyed me.
What are you calling for if you're going to refuse all these gracious offers?
I know. I mean, what kind of a pathology is this that you're miserable?
I don't know, because I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
No. Oh, he only had his dog. That was it. I remember worrying. What happens when this dog dies? He would always say, only my dog understands me. I said, yeah, your dog, every other dog. I mean, that's
what dogs do.
That's what dogs do. Hey, how's your dog, Suze?
You want to know why I'm exhausted?
Is he in an adolescent phase already?
Yeah, he is. He is alternately the sweetest, most lovely little animal, well behaved, doing everything right, and then just turns into, he's possessed. and it's like literally scary.
Does he get?
And then last night it poured. We had like 3 inches of rain, and he had to go out.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't. And so I'm standing out in the deluge in the lightning with an umbrella, going, "Come on, come on!" And he just looked at me and goes to the bathroom in the front hall. And then he goes downstairs to my daughter's portion of the house and finishes the job down there. So that's how I am.
Okay, so he's not the genius he appeared to be.
No.
Well, maybe he is.
Well, he might be, but I'm
because
just
thinking, he's looking
what
outside.
Did I do?
No, you didn't do anything. He's a puppy.
Oh.
Suze, he's a puppy. You got to. Have you started?
His favorite thing to do these days is to pick up, and I even got a new weighted bowl. He picks up his full water bowl and carries it around. So you know what? So my house is ready. I have the cleanest floors.
Oh, I saw the funniest cat video. I know. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't say that. Did I? Did I just say that? I did. But I still, when you said clean floors, it's a video of a person with one of those a dust mop for a floor.
Right.
And you see the mop come into the thing, and then this cat comes running and grabs onto one side of it and is like lying there so that the mop now is the
double
mop
wide.
and has this cat on one side, and then another cat comes and grabs the other side, and she keeps mopping, and it's now, I mean, it is the biggest mop and in the world, and the cats are it's so cute you could die.
All right. Well, Ernie is not in any way that useful. And I am at this point. I never say this. I am feeling my age as if it is inappropriate for a woman of my age to be getting up 2 or 3 times during the night unless I have to pee.
Well, yeah, but don't you?
No.
Can't you? Oh God.
It has to be my idea. Otherwise, it makes me sick.
All right. Listen, Suze, this too
I'm
shall...
not good at dog training. Go ahead.
No, you got to do it. This too shall pass. Have you started your...
We started puppy school. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, but you have to understand that puppy school is about training you, not the puppy.
Well, that's the first thing the trainer said.
That's right. So are you following the rules?
Well, we haven't been practicing a whole lot.
See? But you're not doing it! Susan!
Well, here's the thing. That it's this click thing where you're only supposed to click when they do something good.
Yeah.
So how do you teach them not to do the bad stuff, like biting my nose off or taking a chunk out of my arm? Or
well, you surely don't click.
No.
But you click and give a treat? Or just click?
Yeah, you click and give a treat, and he's very good at coming when called and sitting and meeting my gaze and going where I point and doing all that stuff, but there's nothing useful about... Yeah,
no, it's called reinforcing good behavior.
Next week they'll teach me how to make him, as he says, settle. But I don't think when he's in his whirling dervish phase that he will listen.
What you have to ask, you just ask the teacher, and when he's got his teeth sunk in my arm, what is the proper reaction to that? Right, because you don't want to, you just have to know what you do. How about
Right.
pushing him away and saying
no?
no?
I try and put him away from me and say
No.
down, and then I put myself away from him.
Okay, well.
Because you can't throw him in the crate, because the crate is not supposed to be a punishment.
That's right. You cannot. You'll get it, Suze. Don't worry. He'll be your best friend. In a few years, you'll be calling radio shows in Chicago and saying, I don't know what I do. Only my dog loves me. Okay, Lynn writes, in regard to Mrs. Wiles' gift of $20 million.
Oh, let's just call her Joni.
Joni. Lynn writes something interesting. These are the kinds of things that men, she says in capital letters, do out of ego. It's a little unseemly when women do it. Now, isn't that interesting? Why? Isn't that, it's more shocking when women do it. Is that what you, right?
Yes, it is, but I'm laughing at my stupid dog.
Oh, yeah, your dog. Okay, listen, we've given the dog enough of the program.
He just walked in holding his water bowl.
Well, he was doing that in Green Bay.
I know, but this one weighs 4,000 pounds.
I mean, it's as big as he is. That's so funny. They're funny. See, that's what he, you know, he makes you laugh.
He is busily releasing endorphins in my brain.
Oh, that's
clearly.
right. When he's not upsetting
when he's not pissing me off. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is the sort of thing that women do, but this woman, that men do, and this woman, she's rich enough to
be like
buy
a guy.
herself her own ego.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, wait, and then she goes on to our female attorney general, who has been indicted, and she say, I see what is happening to a very capable and good female politician. The good old boy network is trying to destroy her. Lynn, I beg to differ. She's destroying herself. She's screwed up so much. She has no friends left. Seriously, I would not be backing her now. All of this she has brought on herself. Yes, she took on the old boy network, and the old boy network doesn't like her, but she has also screwed up big time, and she's going to end up in jail.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get indicted. You know, the easy way to keep from getting indicted if you are a office holder is not to do indictable things. Not to
indulge in felonious conduct, which she did. It appears. Pretty sure. I mean, even her fellow Democrats don't want to have anything to do with her. So, no. I think your support of her is misplaced. If you look around, you're in a very small group. As a matter of fact, you're the first person I've ever heard defend her. I mean, she doesn't have a defender left. So, there you have it. Yeah, she screwed up. Okay, Susan, another legal question for you. This clerk in Kentucky, there's an idiot clerk. There's idiot clerks all over the place, but these are these county clerks who object to same-sex marriage because their religion does not allow such blasphemy and will not issue marriage licenses because... Yeah, too bad. Yeah, that's what I would say. Too bad. I believe the Supreme Court has...
Yeah, well, and it's not, you...
That's your job!
That's your job. If you don't want to do the job, don't run for the office.
Exactly right.
You can't refuse to do the job in the way it is intended to be done.
Okay, so explain this. So this particular woman, Kim Davis, is being sued by two same-sex couples. And the federal judge last week said to her, "Hey, you, do your job. Give these guys their license." But I guess she came back with another thing asking for an injunction or something, and he granted her request not injunction. He granted her request to stay his decision while she
Pending an appeal?
Yeah, to the United States Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, why would he even bother? There's no there. I mean,
because he's a weasel. He should have just said no.
He should have said no.
You can go ahead and sue, but you can go ahead and appeal, but until then you have to follow the law. I have ruled.
Now, the governor of Kentucky, who for some reason is a Democrat, ordered her to issue the licenses or get the hell out of the office or resign. And here's what she told the judge. You sitting down? She told the judge that after consulting God, she decided she could not comply.
Well, then fine. Get out of the job.
Isn't that amazing? She can.
It's just.
But I mean, she consulted God.
Oh well, I'm glad that she's got a direct line.
Jeez, how can you do that? I mean, I can see where you would say, "Hey, God, I'm troubled with this," but she must have gotten an answer from him. Jeez. But yeah, I don't get this. This is happening in a lot of places. And I'm sorry, this is settled law now, is it not? It's done.
Yes. So this is your basic scoff law.
Yeah, that's a scoff law. All right. What else we got here? Margie is in. That is why the South sucks.
There's
nice people in the South, and there are some. Listen, do you know how many? Yeah, the idiots are everywhere.
Scott Walker's in Wisconsin, so.
And he's in trouble. Hey, he's in trouble.
Yes, I know. Don't say anything. We just want it to keep happening.
And you know, one of the reasons is Trump. Trump has stolen his base, and you gotta love the Donald for this. And Walker has come out in support of Trump's immigration policy. Do you know that?
Yes.
Trump put out his immigration policy the other day and essentially says,
build a wall and send everybody back. That's his policy.
Build a wall and send everybody packing, including
kids.
Children born in this country who are, by virtue of our Constitution, American citizens. He says, get them and send them packing. And I was so stunned by that. I mean, the Constitution says if you're born in this country, you're an American. As simple as that. So on CNN the other day, Lindsey Graham, who also thinks he's presidential material, was being asked about the Donald's immigration proposal, and he mostly said it's a joke, it's this, it's that. Then they got to the part about where he's just throwing out the Constitution so he can throw out all these kids. And Lindsey Graham agreed with that part of it, that he said he agreed that, is that the Fourth Amendment? He wants to see it repealed. Yeah. What the hell is going on with these people? So that's a popular position in the Republican Party.
If you repeal that, then there's an awful lot of people who were born to non-citizens and became citizens because their parents were here when they gave birth to them. You know, sorry, they won't be citizens either. You can't limit it to one group or...
That's right. It can't just be brown-skinned people who happen to be.
Who come from Mexico.
Yeah. Jeez. Is that my phone? It always is.
Who is calling you? It's probably Mother.
Shut up!
You gotta
I don't even know what... No! Oh, damn. No, it'll stop by the time... I'm sorry. God dang it. And everybody's got that ringtone, so you hear it everywhere. I don't even know who that is. Gee, here's my one producer ago. Jess has written in, happy anniversary of your show. Is this my anniversary? You wouldn't know, Celine. I'd be the last to know. I never note numbers. I wonder what year it is.
Thanks for remembering.
Jess, how old are we? How old? 4 or 5? 4 or 5? Anybody know? Because I don't know. That's amazing. So I started this in August? Okay. All right, so little item in the New York Times Science section that says this. If you're a cop and you don't want to die because someone shoots you, then you do not want to live in any state where gun ownership is high. I would say, duh. Yeah, duh. But this is what it is. The top states for officer homicides: Montana, Alaska, and Arkansas. And guess what? Those are also the top 3 gun-owning states.
Well, does that surprise you?
No, but so what do all these people, the gun owners who think that this makes people safer, what do they say when and the lowest gun-owning states, I give you Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. Guess what? They have the lowest officer homicide rates. And New York, ladies and gentlemen, includes New York City. And New Jersey includes some pretty tough towns, too.
Yeah, like Newark.
Mm-hmm. Officers living in states with high gun ownership are more likely to be murdered on the job. It's with the numbers, and apparently everything, this whole research was done, controlled for race, ethnicity, poverty rates, educational level, all kinds of things. It is as clean a study as you can.
Yeah, it's such an impossible situation. Then I don't know if you saw it a few weeks ago. There was an article, I think, also in the Times about the expert witness usually for the police who testifies about the reasonableness of shootings.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, and what he said is, no, you don't. You just shoot.
Right.
If you don't shoot, you're going to be dead.
That's what he said. I know, that's what he says. You shoot.
But, which I was sort of appalled listening to that, because that means that there is never a unjustified police shooting.
Well, that's what he thinks.
Which I don't believe.
What if the person is not armed? But he says you don't know that, so you shoot to kill.
Right.
God.
Right.
So I don't know. Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to change the subject. We have a
Go
call.
ahead.
We have a call, supposedly. Let's see. Hello.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike from D.C.
Hi, Mike.
Well, I've never understood this, why the FOP hasn't come out for gun control.
Me either.
It's, like dietitians not coming out for healthy eating.
I agree, but I believe some chiefs of police and organizations like the Chiefs, they have, and the cops did come out against those armor-piercing bullets, and in opposition to the NRA, and of course now armor-piercing bullets are no problem, you can have them. So every once in a while they take a stand against a little thing, a little part of the proliferation. But
I think when the concealed carry stuff started, the police departments were uniformly against it. They just lost.
What the cops don't like is that they're being outgunned, right?
And so the solution is for them to carry rifles.
Right.
Or machine guns.
Yeah, right.
instead of saying, wait a second, why can you walk into a Walmart and buy a machine gun?
Exactly.
I wonder how many police officers are members of NRA.
Can you imagine? That's like, I mean, talk about a busman's holiday. That is, can you imagine if once you're off the job that you would want to recreationally shoot your gun? I mean, I just don't understand why once you're off the job you wouldn't want to be anywhere near a gun. It would seem.
Or killing somebody.
Or killing somebody.
Something.
Yeah. I don't get that. But, I don't know, and I can't tell you. I do think there have been times when police have come out in opposition, but not like you're suggesting, that there should be like this.
The union, right?
Yeah.
If the
the
union's
union.
responsibility is to protect their
Yeah.
union people. I forget what they're called. Why isn't the union there saying, wait a second, this is dangerous to our population. There needs to be some regulation or enforcement of the regulation to stop any crazy person from walking into a Walmart and buying a gun.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, and I guess I don't have an answer.
I guess the NRA is more powerful than the FOP.
I think the NRA is more powerful than anybody.
And that question I asked about, I wonder how many people are both FOP and NRA. I bet we wouldn't be legally allowed to get that data. Because that's the thing that the
NRA does,
is they
right.
legally restrict the ability to gather data
About guns. Yeah.
Right.
About gun ownership. It's true. It's amazing.
And fatalities, gun fatalities. There's not even a national database where I can go and find out how many people were killed last year by a gun.
Well, that's because it's not the NRA that does that. It is our spineless, despicable legislators.
It's an NRA who makes that happen.
I know, but they can only make it happen because our so-called
because they bought their votes.
Money talks.
Money talks. Yeah.
There was a thing on Facebook. It said, who would have to die in a gun suicide for you to be against guns? And a gun massacre for you to be against guns?
I don't know. Obviously, I mean, the fact that nothing happened after Newtown except that we got even crazier pro-gun, Americans did, shows you we're hopeless in this, I guess. Although I don't think we should give up the fight, because somewhere there's got to be some sense of, rationality left in the American population. I don't know.
The rest of the world, or you mean the whole world is watching?
Ha!
The whole world is watching us.
Can you imagine? They don't get the gun thing at all, but they're watching us. And can you imagine Donald Trump? They're watching that. It's so embarrassing.
Well, they already
It is really embarrassing.
It is so
but I guess
friggin'
if
embarrassing.
You've never left the country like our last president until he was president. So what do you care what other people think in the world?
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, they don't count. We're exceptional. Oh, God. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, you're getting good and depressed. That's good.
I am. It's about time, too. Just got 4 minutes left. So I want to point out that the Pittsburgh Zoo has parted company with the accrediting agency that the...
They asked them to do something that they didn't want to do?
Yeah, they won't do it. And this accrediting agency, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, they wouldn't accredit the Pittsburgh Zoo anymore by virtue of what the zoo has done.
Isn't it Aquaria?
They say aquariums, and it's their name.
Okay.
I was listening to, I guess, NPR or something. I was talking about the plural of octopus is so weird that I can't remember it now. It's like octopodidiuses. I mean, it's really weird. And people who work with octopuses say that it's octopuses. That's what they say. They do not say octopi. I'm just saying.
Okay.
And the Pittsburgh Zoo thing is about elephants. The Pittsburgh Zoo refuses to comply with the new regulations about handler safety in elephants, which pretty much restricts human contact with elephants. And I know the elephant keeper at the Pittsburgh Zoo. He's been working with them for 40 years. And they do their own thing here, and they're absolutely certain they're doing the right thing given their elephant population. It's gotten so now, though, that enough people have died, and people who know what they're doing, handlers, have died. Even Pittsburgh lost a handler about 12 years ago, an elephant handler killed by the elephant. And, you know, what's amazing, Susan, is back 25 years ago, I walked right in on a piece I was doing where I was an elephant keeper for the day. I was with all those elephants out in a field, and I was feeding them, and I gave one a bath with a big, big thing, like a push broom, and shampoo, and I'm thinking, God, no zoo would let you do that now. No zoo would. That was stupid. Apparently, I was at risk. I did get a little hurt on the thing because I was standing right under the elephant because I was putting stuff in his mouth, and his trunk was up because that's what you do when you want something in your mouth. And then I stood there after he was done, and his trunk came down. And I gotta tell you, so I got the big heavy part that's attached to it hit me in the head, and I saw stars. Oh, man. I saw stars. Show anniversary. Wait a minute.
You had no business being in this.
I know, but Dorothy writes, Jess contacting you about your show's anniversary reminded me about how you signed off from your last show on traditional radio. Your last show on radio came the day John McCain announced Sarah Palin as his running mate.
Really?
Yeah. Do you believe that? They yanked me. Stop and think about that. They yanked me heading in to that presidential election, which I really did feel gagged. I mean, like they didn't want my voice out there. It was amazing. And you could imagine how I must have been going nuts wanting to talk. And she said I went off just sputtering and lambasting McCain and Palin. But that was my last radio rant, I guess. Jeez.
Well, just goes to show you they can try, but you cannot be shut up.
That's what I said. I said if it comes to standing on the corner of Forbes and Murray with a bullhorn, well, then that's what I'm going to do. So, Suze, I think we're done.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm going to bed.
Is the pup sleeping now so you have a chance?
Yeah, he's exhausted.
Okay. Well, you go to bed too then.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that's it for us, and I'll be back tomorrow. Toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.